Alright, so there's been a lot of buzz around a certain admitted black magician on YouTube who has gotten himself into a lot of legal trouble. Now, I'm not going to mention names, but this is the same individual who is teaching others how to do baneful magic and telling them that there aren't any karmatic consequences to it. So let's get into it. Alright, from the get-go, I just want to say that I have absolutely nothing against this individual. I may not agree with his methods and ideology about baneful magic being used on other people, but I personally have nothing against him. I also don't really care or worry about what others are doing because I'm too busy focused on my own work. Those who worry too much about what others are doing are losing the frame battle. You're letting the environment and others dictate how you react, and I like to be at the cause, not the effect. So why am I talking about this? Well, it's a good opportunity to go over the common reasons that magicians fall. This particular individual is very well known, and a few weeks ago he was brought up on federal drug and weapons charges. Now, this could just be the pendulum swinging the other way. However, I tend to think that this is more of a manifestation of reaping what you sow. As much as I didn't like my father preaching to me all the time growing up, I particularly did not like it when he constantly said, "You reap what you sow." And that's one point that he continuously tried to beat into my head. And it took me a long time to actually learn that. And for most people, it takes a long time to learn that. What you put out eventually is going to return to you. I don't care how good you think you are. You may be able to prolong it, even for long, long periods of time, but eventually all energy has to return to source. That's just universal law. I've heard rumors that other magicians may be responsible. That may be so, but I hope not, because they haven't learned anything then either, because that energy is going to return to them eventually. And the same goes for reveling in the fall of others, because there's a lot of people saying, well, he got what he deserved because he's doing all this baneful and black magic to other people without regards to them. And they're like happy about the fact that this guy's going through a tough time. Blaming, shaming, pointing the finger, mocking. These are the absolute worst things that you can do. Sure, he may be reaping that which he hath sowed, but that's his lesson to learn. That has absolutely nothing to do with your path. And if you get involved with mocking and finger pointing and blaming and shaming and calling him names, that type of thing, is that sending out a positive charge or a negative charge? Because that's the charge that's going to come back to you. It's not a punishment or reward system as people make it out to be. It's just that simply it has no other place to go. It has to return to source. What comes around goes around in some form or another, because these things don't always come back in the same form as they were sent out. They can and will transmute along the way. My advice for this particular individual is that the sooner he learns that lesson, the easier time he's going to have with this. I remember reading a magician's blog, and I forget and apologize, I don't remember whose blog it was. It was a while ago, probably even a couple years now. And he was having a conversation with his holy guardian angel, in which he asked the holy guardian angel to heal him, and the angel agreed. And in the subsequent months that followed, he lost everything: his home, his wife, his job, and he went to prison. And he was angry at his holy guardian angel. I asked for you to help and heal me. To which the holy guardian angel replied, I did. This is what you needed. And I forget how long he remained in prison. It was at least a year, if not 2, until he realized that everything that he had wasn't doing him any good. And when he finally got out of that situation and was released, he was better off for it. The point is that what we think is best for us isn't always the greater good. People have this misconception that they think that the greater good somehow is always aligned with what's best for them in their mind, and it's not. Not if you're not learning the lessons. These forces are always trying to teach a lesson. You need to keep that in mind as you go about your practice. And the reaping what you sow is one of those lessons. I've gone through it most of my life, okay? And there was a reason that my father was preaching that to me. Even though I couldn't see it at the time, I thought he was just being a fanatic. Now, I'm not telling you anything that I haven't told you before. I have warned you against doing baneful magic. And not from a moral perspective of right and wrong, although that may certainly apply, but more from just the fact that energy has to return to source, and when you do that, you become the source. Another common reason that magicians fall is pride. You've heard it before. Pride comes before the fall. So if you go around thinking that you're the shit and you're all powerful and godlike in your magical abilities, you are setting yourself up for an eventual fall. The good king leads his people. He doesn't lord over them to rule them. You may have more skill by putting in more time than others, but that doesn't make you better than anyone else. It doesn't mean that you're superior, and a lot of magicians have superiority complexes. And it's a common reason of why they fall later, for lack of humility and being humble. Strive to lift those people up to your level, not keep them down where they're at while you lord over them. And I'm not saying that this has anything to do with this particular case. I'm just saying that this is one of those reasons that often come up. If you remember what it says in the Declaration of Independence, that all men are created equal, then you won't have this particular problem. Now, you can take pride in your work, but give the divine the credit and don't use it to lord over people. That's the simplest way that I can explain it to you and keep you from having to learn this very harsh lesson. So again, don't revel in the misery of others, because you reap what you sow. When you project those things out, they have to come back in, and pride comes before the fall. And I will see you next time. As always, take care.